This is the Infinite Receiving Podcast, helping conscious leaders like you tap into a wealth of abundance across all areas of your life and business. My name is Susie Ashworth. I am a single mom of 3 and author of the Sunday Times best-selling book, Infinite Receiving. Crack the code to conscious wealth creation and finally manifest your dream life. On this show, I'll be sharing with you how you can upgrade your identity and your reality to create the life that you have been dreaming of. Because you are ready to be an infinite receiver. Hello, you gorgeous human being. It is Susie Ashworth here, and you are listening to the Infinite Receiving Podcast. Wow, that was strong, kind of deep. I'm not sure what happened with that one, but we are taking it. It was good. It was juicy. I am here with it feels like a very personal episode for you today. I am still reeling in the revelations and the breakthroughs that I had through taking myself out and being on retreat. And I said this in the last episode that for me, I really focused my attention on looking to unravel some of the stickiness and the tightness I have been experiencing around. I think last week, the way that I described it is some tricky relationships. But if I'm being really honest, I mean, I am specifically talking about the relationship that I have with my ex. It has become increasingly more tricky, which feels annoying and frustrating to say, because I would say that the first 2 years of our separation were really, really positive. The best that they could have been given the circumstances. And I think that our kids really benefited from that. And unfortunately, it has deteriorated since then. And what I had envisaged was things becoming more and more and more positive as time went on. And that hasn't been the case at all. And what I was looking at, or what became really apparent to me whilst I was on retreat, is the level of resistance that I have been leaning into when it comes to our current situation. I've been in deep resistance since it started to go downhill and really craving to be seen, to be heard, to be understood, and fighting for it. It's like, you will see me, and you will stop saying this, and you will stop. And of course, when you meet fire with fire, guess what you get? More fire. And the reality is that I am not in control of what anybody thinks about me. You know, I have a personal brand where I share information. And of course, there is intention that I have when I share information. And really, the main intention is for me to add value, for you to get to know me. And through the information that I share, decide if you like me, decide if you want me to be a mentor, a teacher, a coach for you or not. And the most important word in the whole of that sentence is decide. I share information. I am not in control of the way that you receive it. I am not in control of the context that you listen to this episode with. If you have been separated and have the most amicable relationship with your ex-partner that a person could wish for, you may listen to this and think, God, wow, I am so lucky. You know, I'm so lucky that I don't relate to this experience, or listening to her talk right now is just making me feel so fortunate that I've never had to deal with this. If you are somebody who has been in a relationship that has kids and you can't stand your partner, you might be like, oh my God, I so get you. Like, I thought that it was gonna be good, and I thought that we were gonna be friends, and I thought that this, and it is the worst. I so relate to your story. And you might be somebody who's like, "Well, I am happily married, and I can't believe that you're even discussing this on your podcast. This makes me feel wildly uncomfortable. This is too much information." And, you talk about authenticity and vulnerability. This is way beyond the pale. Like, I do not talk about my relationship. I'm not in control of any of those contexts, but for sure, your own personal experience is going to color the lens of which you hear what it is that I'm saying. The other day, I pulled out of my drive and I was looking down the road because my son was being picked up by one of our neighbors to go to school. And I didn't look right. So there was a car that was coming, and it was coming a little bit too fast down the road, but I pulled out. So the driver was understandably annoyed. The response was a little bit more aggressive than what it probably should be on a private road where he was driving, or she was driving too quickly. And what I understood by the way that they kind of backed off after we'd started driving is that there was an awareness that something else was going on. Aside from the fact that I pulled out without looking, there was something else going on for them. And it felt like they realized that. Now, again, some of that is projection. I have no idea what was going on with that person, but I was able to see a difference in the way that they were driving. Now, all this to say that my ex's experience right now of me has really nothing to do with me. And it's so weird. I slightly hesitated because I can already hear how, if I said that to him, he would be like, "This is ridiculous. This has got everything to do with you. This is who you are. This is what you've done. This is why you're not a good person. This is how much you've blah, blah, blah," like fill in the blanks. And it's all because of you. And this is where the resistance piece has been showing up, because my truth is that history is being rewritten, and you're rewriting it with me as the star of the show, and not in a good way. Like, I am the villain. And I'm not having that, because I wasn't a villain, and I'm not the villain, and I'm a good person, and I'm this, and I'm that, and I'm this. And it doesn't matter what I say. And it doesn't matter what is true for him. It doesn't matter what is true for me. I am not in control. There is nothing that I can say that is going to make my ex look at me the way that I want to be looked at. That was like the real big revelation. There's nothing that I can say. The only thing that can change my ex's mind is his decision to change his mind, which may or may not happen. When I had this revelation, it wasn't a relief at that point, but it was like an, "Oh, what are you doing?" What I had been doing in this resistance is feeling really justified in being a victim, feeling really validated in being, or feeling like I was being hard done by, feeling really validated in the fact that you're being unreasonable, irrational, unkind, like fill in the blanks, validating my feeling of victimhood. And that is not a character or an identity that feels good on anyone, let alone me. But it doesn't feel good on anyone. So why do I keep going back there? I can say, "Well, it's because you're triggering me. It's because you're doing this. It's because you're doing that." But as soon as I do that, I'm saying that I'm not in control of how I respond. I am in control of how I respond in every situation. But when I am moving through the world with a lack of consciousness, when I am moving through the world with a limited level of self awareness, life happens to me rather than from me and through me. So, as I'm sat there doing this journaling exercise and just having this realization that I've been acting like a victim, feeling quite uncomfortable about that, the other thing that came through really strongly, which I talk about in Infinite Receiving, my book, is about the law of grace. And I'm not sure whether I reference the law of grace directly. What I say in the book is that there is a gift in everything. When you are in the frequency of receiving infinitely, you understand that there is a gift in every single circumstance that you experience without exception. Now, the law of grace says you won't always get what you want, but you will get exactly what you need for your next level of evolution. So, why are you fighting it, Suze? Why are you fighting your next level? That was the breakthrough. It's just like, stop it. If that is true and you believe that to be true, what gets to happen here? What is the gift that you are trying to resist? What is the lesson? There's a lesson here for you. What are you trying to resist? And it was super clear. It was like, this is the lesson of unconditional love. Let's just say that for the rest of your time on this planet, everything stays the same or even gets worse. And you learn to be boundaried, yes, but at the same time, be kind, be respectful, be loving. Love him for being the father of my children. Love him for being present. Love him for teaching me, even in this chapter, how far away I am from really living and knowing unconditional love and the opportunity to live it and know it. What a gift. Not easy, but what a gift. And how I get there is to stop resisting the situation. Stop needing to be seen in a certain way to be willing to love somebody. That's the opportunity. Deep and radical acceptance was taking radical ownership, which, by the way, is one of our new company values, taking radical ownership of my responses. This is not easy. I have been triggered since I've been back. I have reacted and not responded since I've been back, and had the self-awareness to be aware that that's what I was doing, and know that I get the opportunity to redress the balance the next time something comes up. The other side of this coin is, what if everything improves? What if, through choosing the path of unconditional love, I am able to be a catalyst for the next level of evolution of our relationship, whether friendship is mutual, whether love is mutual, whether respect is mutual, where we can spend time together and have fun together and create new memories as a family together. Like, wow, how incredible would that be? So, whether I learn what it means to really deeply love unconditionally, or I'm able to create and be a catalyst for our next level of evolution, either way, I win. I win through acceptance of what is and radical ownership of who it is that I try to be, and uncompromising willingness to live into my values and standards. Now, this was huge for me. And it came through the journaling exercise, but ultimately the questions that were asked were coaching questions where I got to self-coach myself. And because I had time and space, I was able to really listen to the answers and get clarity on what it is that I need to do. And part of me holding myself accountable is to create this episode. I had the awareness as I was sharing this, is that one day, probably my children are going to listen to these episodes, and they're going to get an insight into at least the part of me that I present to the world in this medium. And they're going to hear how I thought about this scenario. And I really get this, my truth, there's his truth, and then there's the actual truth. But it feels really incredible to be so clear on my intention and my willingness to do the work in order to make this either end of the scale my reality. This is the power of the breakthroughs that come when you have somebody asking you potent and powerful questions about how it is that you want to grow, how it is that you desire to develop. And then for me, where the real magic happens is in the implementation, because we can all know what it is that we need to do. But if we are not in an environment where we're checking in regularly on our progress, it's so easy to revert to type, revert to our old habitual patterns. This is why these conversations are important for those people who can't afford coaching. Like, I trust that this is going to be valuable. It's going to highlight an area of your life where you know that you get to do better ultimately. And I also hope that this is an activator for those of you who have been thinking about becoming a coach, and just really hearing that it's through these coaching questions that ultimately we get to change lives. And if that is inspiring for you and you want to learn how you can hold space and become a powerful facilitator of change and transformation, then please DM me or send me an email at hey@SusieAshworth saying ready to be a coach. And I can let you know when we have our next information day, or you can hop on a call with somebody from the team to find out more about how we work things in the Quantum Leap Your Life and Business Coaching certification, or DM me on Insta on Susie, SUZY_Ashworth, to let me know that you want to have a conversation. You just want to find out more about what it takes to become a world-class coach and help people make changes that ultimately change their world and the worlds of the people around them. I'm here for it. I love this work, and I love being committed to being a model for what is possible, because I allow myself to be supported, because I allow myself to be coached by some of the best people in the world. I love you. I hope that you have loved this episode. Please share it with somebody who you think this would be valuable with, or at least share it on your Insta. And in the meantime, I look forward to being in your earbuds next week and invite you to remember that faith plus action equals miracles.
Thank you for listening to Infinite Receiving with me, Susie Ashworth. I'd love to share with you my Infinite Receiving activation audio. Go to susieashworth.com/activate infinite receiving.